Hi, welcome to the Leaving California webinar. My name is Terry Gilliam. I am the founder and administrator, one of the administrators of the Leaving California group. Today it is my honor to welcome Isaac Chavez. Isaac is a longtime real estate professional and a resident of the Boise metro area. Isaac is a military veteran, husband, father, and all-around great guy. About a year and a half ago, I told him I was starting this Facebook group called Leaving California, and he was thrilled to jump into the group and participate, and he's been a valued member ever since, and he's the only other administrator in the group. So welcome, Isaac. Nice to have you.
Thanks, Terry. I'm so excited to join you today. The weather is wonderful here right now. It's a sunny day. I can't think of a better day to do this.
That's great. And Isaac, one of the first things that you taught me when I met you is that the name of the area you live is pronounced Boise, not Boise. Now, my whole life, living all around the country, everybody says Boise, Idaho, but you taught me that it's pronounced Boise. So I want to bring that up first so that people who visit your area don't look out of place.
That's true. It's pronounced with an S, not a Z. So Boise. And we all make that mistake when we move here, but you're corrected pretty quickly. And that's the fastest way for them to know that you're from another state. And it's not just here. There's some other places in the state. Like we have a Moscow, but we call it Moscow. It's spelled Moscow, and that's where the University of Idaho is. So it's not just Boise, but you get used to it once you live here, and they correct you right away, but it's all in fun.
Can you tell me what attracted you and your wife to the Boise area? I know you've lived all around the country, grew up in New Mexico, and lived everywhere, a lot of other places. What attracted you and your wife to Boise?
Personally, we lived in New Mexico, which was really hot. We were in the southern part of the state, so 110 degrees in the summer and really dry. And then we actually moved to Vermont, and it was the opposite. It was lots of snow, minus 20 degrees in the winter, and just all around hard place to live, although it was beautiful. So what brought us to Boise was that we wanted a place that was moderate and seasonal, and really, to be quite honest, a place that our kids could be outside year round. And that wasn't the case in the prior places we lived. Either you had to be in air conditioned in the summer, or you had to be inside by the heater in the winter. But in Boise, we literally have 4 distinct seasons, and the kids can be doing activities all year long. And that was what attracted us originally.
Can you tell us a little bit about the downtown Boise, what it's like? I mean, do businesses thrive there? Is it a growing area?
So the Boise metropolitan area in total is about 700,000-ish and, growing constantly. But it's made up of about 5 or 6 different towns or cities. Boise proper, like the one that we all imagine, encompasses the downtown. And that's only about 230,000 of those 700,000 residents. So downtown Boise is a very large, thriving area, but it's flat. So you can walk, you can ride bikes. They have those e-scooters all over. You're not going up hills. It's not San Francisco. You're not having to, to tunnel through obstacles. So it's a very well-designed, well-laid out downtown area with tons of restaurants, patio restaurants, bars, nightlife, shopping. The opera's down there. Our semi-professional hockey league tournament is down there. All of our convention centers and hotels. It's a very, very fun place to hang out. Whether you're single, retired, families, there's something for everybody there. In fact, if you look at my background here, this is actually a picture of Quinns Pond.
No kidding.
Quinns Pond is a mini lake, for lack of a better word, and it's right next to downtown Boise. It's unbelievable. You can fish, you can paddleboard, you can swim, you can canoe, you can kayak, you can just get a suntan. There's a beach there. There's picnic shelters. There's bike rides, bike trails. And it's all within just a few minutes of downtown. And if you don't want to walk or drive there, you can take the bus. We do have a public bus system. It's practically free. It's not the most elaborate system, so it doesn't go everywhere, but it does cover most of downtown Boise. And it's like 50 cents, I think, to get on it. So it's a pretty affordable option if you want to save gas.
That's great. So you can actually swim in that, what'd you call it, a pond?
Yeah, it's called Quinns Pond. It was revitalized about a decade ago, so completely healthy. They test it constantly. Um, and in the 3 years that we've been hanging out at that pond, I think only one time did they have to close down for a couple of days because there was something about a high amount of algae or something in one part. But other than that, it's always open and it's thriving year round. But from, I would say, June through August, it's a swimmer's paradise.
So can you tell us a little bit about the other communities in the Boise metro? I know there's a lot of different towns, and can you kind of tell us who moves to what communities and kind of why people choose other communities to live in the Boise metro?
Yeah, so we when you live here, we refer to this metropolitan area as the Treasure Valley. So that's what you'll hear me say from now on. Whenever you hear somebody say the Treasure Valley, that means the entire area, which encompasses 3 counties. We have Ada County, which is where Boise is, and then we have Canyon County, and then we have Gem County. And so those 3 counties make up the Treasure Valley, about 700,000 people. So we talked about Boise. The other city that connects to Boise is called Meridian. Meridian is about 150,000 people. And then connecting to Meridian is Eagle. Eagle is about, maybe 60,000 people, give or take. And then if you just drive down the interstate for about 10, 15 minutes, you get to Nampa. Nampa is probably the fastest growing city in the state, if not America. And there's about 100,000, 120,000 people there. And another 7 minutes down the highway is the community of Caldwell, which is about 70 or 80,000 people as well. So those are the main cities that make up the Treasure Valley. And there's one more. It's on the other side. It's called Kuna. And Kuna is about 70, 80,000 people as well. So if you do the math, that all adds up to about 700,000. But once again, they're all connected via the interstate system. And it's not a long commute. You can go from one end to the other in 30 minutes. Maybe during rush hour, it takes 45 minutes. But it's nothing like what Californians are used to with traffic. Here, you don't have to plan on being in your car for an hour or two at all. You just hop on the highway and hop off.
So can you just kind of describe the kind of person that might move to Eagle versus the kind of person that might move to Nampa, as per se?
Yeah, a lot of it is driven by, what your daily life looks like. So if you're a professional who's going to be working in the tech industry or the finance industry or the government, you're probably going to generally base yourself in Boise proper because that's where all of that activity is occurring. But if you're maybe you have a family or younger children or grandchildren, and you want to be in a kind of an exurb where there's a lot of parks, lots of sporting facilities, lots of good schools, then Meridian is usually the number one choice. The housing prices are a little bit lower in Meridian than they are in Boise, but it's well laid out, spread out, very green. Eagle is an interesting place. Eagle attracts all kinds of people, but it is a little bit of the, the higher end market. So the housing prices are definitely higher than the rest of the Treasure Valley. There's lots of country clubs, golf courses, lots of high-end amenities. We also have a lot of high-end condos and townhouses. So it's popular with retirees. It's popular with empty nesters, but it's also popular with executive type level jobs. So families, with parents that maybe have executive type jobs or are business owners. So that kind of describes Eagle. And then down the highway in Nampa and Caldwell, it's about almost $100,000 lower average price for the homes there. So we're seeing a lot of first-time home buyers, millennials, younger families, moving to Nampa. We do have, for example, a brand new Amazon fulfillment center is about to open there. It's almost done. It's this massive, mammoth facility, and it's going to provide 3,000 new jobs. Wow. So Nampa is kind of the budding place. We're very proud because Nampa was voted this past year as the #1 best managed city government in America.
Wow.
So we're pretty proud of that. They manage their city really well. It's well laid out. They use a lot of roundabouts instead of four-way stops. So it's pretty cool place to live.
So on the subject of jobs, can you tell us a little bit about some of the major employers in Boise? I mean, if someone still has to work, I mean, I know a lot of retirees are moving there, but if someone still has to work, what does it look like from a jobs perspective?
So, we have had some of the lowest unemployment rates in the country, as low as 2.8 recently.
Wow.
There's more work. It's actually underemployment, right? There's more jobs than people to fill them. We have everything. Some of the larger companies that you may have heard of is Micron. Micron is one of the largest makers of the laptop computer chips. So if you're using a laptop, you probably have a Micron chip in there. Wow. Simplot is one of the largest private companies in the country. Simplot is the one that provides all the potatoes to McDonald's. That's where they first made their billions, was making the potatoes, the French fries. We also have Hewlett Packard is here, Canon, QuickBooks, Intuit has a big presence here, Vacasa. And then we also have just down the road is Cliff Bar and Chobani Yogurt. So some of the places that everybody has heard of. We also have a lot of startup tech type jobs. Some people would like to say that we're trying to be a mini Silicon Valley per se, without all the traffic and without all the high prices. And then agriculture is big here still. Lots of agriculture activity, dairies. And then finally, government. We have the state government is in Boise. It's the capital. So all the related entities, all the trade associations and different types of groups. And then finally, the educational system. We have Boise State University, BSU, which is very famous. But we also have a law school, medical school, dental school, several other universities, several community colleges. So there's a lot of secondary education opportunities. But then finally, the largest employer in the entire state is one of our hospital systems, St. Luke's Hospital. They basically have hospitals all around the state. And then we also have St. Alphonsus, which is the other major hospital system. So Boise, I know this is kind of going towards the medical side, but Boise is fortunate in our Treasure Valley to have three major hospital systems. Those two, and then we also have a full-blown VA hospital, which is the only one in Idaho. So it's the full deal. If you're a veteran, you can go and have any type of surgery there. It's a major hospital. So between all of that, and then we have an Air Force base about 35 miles away, Mountain Home Air Force Base. So those are kind of the main drivers for jobs. And then, of course, the service industry is huge. All the restaurants and bars and shopping. We have a huge mall that's actually one of the busiest malls in the country. I know malls are dying all around the country, but it's not here. It's actually booming. So it's just it's an all-around easy place to find a job if you need to or want to work.
That's very helpful. Thank you. How about for those who are looking like entrepreneurial, want to come there and maybe bring a business from California to Idaho, or want to start a business? Can you kind of talk about the business climate there?
So if anybody ever follows politics, Idaho is a very, very pro-business, pro-property rights state. So our state constitution and all of our legislation over the last literally 100 years have maintained that stance. So because of that, taxes are generally low. For example, our state sales tax is exactly 6%. And it's on everything, including groceries. But when you file your state taxes, you can actually take $100 sales tax credit back. So you're not really on your groceries. So, and then our income tax generally is about 7.5%. So I know compared to California, that's pretty good. So we don't have a lot of red tape. In fact, recently our governor was on national TV because I guess I don't know who tracks this, but Idaho was named as the lowest amount of regulations in the country at a state level. So it's something that Idahoans take pride in.
That would be a bit of a culture shock for those of us coming from California, where it seems like everything is regulated, including what we breathe.
Yeah, not here. Here, we definitely support small businesses, entrepreneurship. In fact, to be quite honest, because we're so close by airplane to the Bay Area,
Mhm.
we have a lot of entrepreneurs that are able to, either vice versa, either commute from the Bay Area here for the week and go back home, or vice versa, they live here but continue doing their businesses in the Bay Area because it's an easy flight. Our airport, which is another thing we're proud of, is pretty close to downtown. It's about a 10-minute ride, either in your car, Uber, or taxi. You can be at the airport. It's the type of airport that you can check in 30 minutes before your flight and don't have to worry about it. The parking garages are literally right next to the terminal. So that's one of the biggest benefits. But we have Southwest Airlines, Alaskan Airlines, tons of flights every day to Oakland, Sacramento, San Francisco, Orange County, Long Beach, Santa Ana, and of course, San Diego. So you can fly back and forth relatively inexpensively and do your business.